Hello there. Good day, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Hope that you're having a fantastic day so far. My name is Cyreta Laws-Frumau. I'm a performance and mindset coach with the Proctor Gallagher Institute. If this is your first time on my channel, welcome. For the month of July, we've been going through the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This is a 1937 classic, which has sold over 15 million copies worldwide. The purpose of going through this book is to inspire you to take action, to think of how you can implement these 13 success principles into your lives to improve your life and the life of those around you. Now, like I said, we started going through this book at the beginning of July, and we're now on chapter 15, which is the final chapter. My mentor, the late Bob Proctor, he read this book for his entire life, basically, for a majority of his life. This book is, well, like it says, don't know if you can see it right there, the greatest motivational book of all time. It is very deep. This is a book that is very useful to study. Let's read a little bit each day. So chapter 15 is actually how to outwit the 6 ghosts of fear. If you haven't seen my previous videos, please go ahead and watch them. And I hope that it will inspire you into action. I hope that it will improve your life and the lives of those around you. Now, the second ghost that we're going to talk about today is the fear of criticism. We spoke in the last video about the fear of poverty, and that was a big one. That was a huge one. So we'll have a little bit of introduction, and then we're going to talk about the origin, or what Napoleon deemed to be the origin of criticism. And then we are going to look at the effects that this ghost has on just our lives. And then finally, we're going to talk about the symptoms of the fear of criticism. So for me, it begins on page 338, and we will end on 342. So first, what I did, I looked up the meaning of the word criticism. Of course, we all know what it is, but I wanted to quote directly from the online Oxford Dictionary. It says, criticism is the expression of disapproval of someone or something on the basis of perceived faults or mistakes. So it's the analysis of judgment of merits or faults on someone or something. And it can be constructive and it can also be destructive. So an example of a criticism is if you tell someone that they're lazy, or you're just giving your opinion or perception about what you think about that thing or person. When I saw the word perceived, I immediately thought about something that Bob would say, because perception changes the way how you look at something. So you see something and you immediately, you have a perceived idea. You think this is how the thing will be. But once you change the way that you look at it, your perception changes. So criticism, I think, is often very subjective, because we always come from the place of our subconscious or paradigms. And I think if any of you are watching this video and if you've always been criticized, you have the choice whether to accept or reject that person's opinion. And even if it's something factual, it's something that you have the power to change anyway. So the origin. So Napoleon says here that he believes that, the fear of criticism came about from the time that politics became a profession. Others believe that it can be traced to the age when women first began to concern themselves about styles, so what they wore. So some are saying that it came about, when when politics became a profession, and some think that it was as a result of when women started to dress in different sorts of clothing. And of course, I love what Napoleon says here, because he says that it takes many forms which are petty and trivial. If you think about, you are concerned about what you wear because of what other people think, and having the latest car, or having the latest clothing just because you want the approval of other people, then it is small and petty in the natural scheme of things. I mean, yeah, what does it matter if your hat was in fashion? But I guess, especially, we are a community, so we want to be accepted by others. And I think that's also where it stems from, gaining the acceptance from those that we consider worthy of, we want to be worthy of their attention. So again, it's really subjective, I think, how much you take on this criticism. Napoleon says that, once someone reaches the age of mental maturity, which is 35 to 40, then they also start questioning a lot of things that they accept. And some of the things that they question is their belief system, especially if you have been deeply rooted in some sort of religion or spiritual practice. As children, when we are taught certain things, we grow up believing them, and then as we get older, we question it. Sometimes we question it as well when we're children, but because we also want to we don't want to question our parents, so we don't want to be criticized, or we don't want their disapproval, we keep it within ourselves. But then we start, as he says, the age of mental maturity. Some persons will get the courage to openly state their own beliefs, and ask questions. Why is this so? And then there are others that they would rather tell a lie and then admit that they do not believe the stories that we've been told. So some people shy away from denying, their beliefs. And like I said, a lot of times it's religious. It's about spiritual practices. And of course, men and women have been burned at the stake for daring to express their disbelief in ghosts and other things as well. Luckily, we're not in those times. Maybe it does take on a different form, but there were people that were burned at the stake because they dared to think something else than was considered the norm. So we no longer have those severe punishments in majority of the countries around the world, but you do have some countries that there are people who are afraid to speak their minds because they fear the severe punishment that will come with it. So yeah, that's the origin, where it stems from and how active it can become. Now let's look at the effects of the fear of criticism on page 340. It says the fear of criticism robs man of his initiative, destroys his power of imagination, limits his individuality, takes away self-reliance, and does him damage in 100 other ways. Yeah, because if we are all conforming to what other people think, we no longer think for ourselves. And we're all, yes, we are a community and we're a group, but we're also individuals. So the moment that we lose our individual self, then we're going along with someone else's idea because they're also coming from their own individuality. You know what I mean? And Napoleon also states, like lower on it, like on that page, one's nearest relatives are often the worst offenders. And again, because of that acceptance, that need for acceptance. However, this can build, especially if you're afraid to express yourself to a parent, the child develops this inferiority complex in their mind. And this is very dangerous because the parents sometimes come from the place like, I know best, and yet they're coming from their own paradigms, which whatever they believe to be true may or may not be the truth. But yet they pass those beliefs onto their children. So, pretty interesting there. Napoleon also states that criticism will plant fear in the human heart or resentment, but it will not build love or affection. A better way is constructive criticism, and allowing other people, everyone to think for themselves. Like even this information that's in this book, we should be able to question it and say, is there another way? Is there a better way? Maybe if it worked then, maybe it doesn't work now. At the same time, we're all connected to infinite source, and we're all connected to infinite source. If we can tap into our sixth sense and get inspiration and hunches, we can apply it to our own lives. The beauty about this book is that success leaves clues. So we've seen 500 or more of, men and women who followed these principles, and we can study for ourselves. So we can also come from a place of, okay, even though I question it, I did my research, right? I'm still taking action. I'm still moving forward, but I see where there is truth in it. And because this is also one of the reasons I love this book, because Bob read it for 60 years as well, and I read a lot about successful people and how well they do and what they think. Okay, so finally, let's look at the symptoms of the fear of criticism. I'm on page 341. So, this fear is almost as universal as the fear of poverty, and it is just as fatal to personal achievement because this fear destroys initiative and discourages the use of imagination. And we know how important the imagination is. We discussed that in chapter 6, and it's been linked to a lot of other chapters. So what are the symptoms? 1, being self-conscious. 2, lack of poise, so being nervous around other people, not being able to control our voice, poor memory, poor posture. The third one is personality. So lacking firmness of decision, a personal charm, agreeing with others without careful examination of their opinions. The fourth, inferiority complex. The fifth, extravagance, keeping up with the Joneses. The seventh, lack of initiative. So failure to embrace opportunities for self-development, fear to express opinions, lack of confidence in one's own ideas, giving evasive answers to questions asked by superiors, hesitancy of manner and speech, deceit in both words and deeds. And finally, lack of ambition. And this lack of ambition manifests itself in mental and physical laziness, lack of self-assertion, slowness in reaching decision. And we know slowness in reaching decision is one of the major causes of failure. And not only that, the the slower we reach a decision, we build indecision, right? Which manifests itself in doubt. And this is how the fear comes in. So this is a very good, if any of this is clicking in any way, this is, it's very good to just read for yourself on page 341 to 342. Look and see if you are being affected by any one of these symptoms. And the most important thing is the awareness and then taking action, just being aware and knowing that you can change any of this at any time. Okay, so that's it for me today. We are finished with that fear. And in the next video, we are going to continue to the next one, which is the fear of ill health. Okay, so until my next video, take care. Thank you so much for watching and have yourselves a beautiful day.